Thanks so much for being with us for Fox 43 News for the latest on the storm that is impacting almost all of Pennsylvania at this point. I'm Jackie DeTore.
And I'm Alex Colley. Got people watching our stream both locally and internationally, which includes my mom, who has lunch in Cancun, Mexico. She says it's breezy and warm there, 80 degrees. That's not the case here. And to back me up on that, Jacob Hitz is here to tell you that it is not, in fact, 80 breezy and warm here.
80?
80.
We're lucky if we hit 8. Are you kidding me? Like, we're in the teens right now, the low teens.
Yep.
Like 10.
It's only 80 if you go inside. We can make it 80 in the studio because we don't pay the bill here.
That's true.
But,
We could. We'd be sweating and
Yeah. No, that's
get a workout.
Not an option for us.
No.
We're not paying for the power bill.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's. Well, okay. Here's radar. Obviously, not 80 degrees where you are if you're here in South Central Pennsylvania. Nonetheless, the snow continuing to work its way through. We are seeing some more pockets of pink work their way through. Obviously, that is the sleet, but we know that we've had some sleet falling in some spots already. Let's check out our snowfall totals so far across the area. No major changes in the last half hour. 11.5 inches reported over in Manheim Township in Lancaster County. 10 inches reported near Lebanon City and Lebanon. And then 8 inches over in Perry County and Cumberland County. 9 inches in Franklin County. No, we just saw some reports out of Juniata and Mifflin County that they're up to around 6.5 inches of snow right now. So everybody is slowly but surely catching up, of course. Further north and west, like Mifflin and Juniata, at this point, no mixing. It's just all been snow for them. Of course, we talked last hour about the types of winter precip that we could see. And, of course, freezing rain and rain, push that off to the side. Don't really need to worry about that. What we're watching, of course, is the sleet and the snow itself. The snow is self-explanatory. Obviously, all cold air all the way through falls as snow originally, and that's what we see down here on the surface. For sleet, it'll start as snow, but then it'll run into some warm air as we get higher up into the atmosphere. Not a lot of warm air, but just enough for it to melt, and then runs into a lot of cold air underneath it, and it refreezes as it heads back to surface. Now, we have had some spots already where there has been the warm air, but too much snow falling at one time, where it's just able to cool that air just a little bit so it doesn't freeze and it essentially falls as if there's no warmer air there. Now off to our south, we are seeing spots where there's more warmer air, the snow melts and then freezes as it gets back to the colder air down below, right on contact. Seeing that down in the Carolinas and Virginias, and that is causing a lot of hectic situations out there as far as roads, power, everything like that. Here's a live look out at Lewistown, and you can see that the wind is still hanging strong. The snow continues to fall out there, and notice all the roads are snow covered as a nice piece of probably township equipment or something slides on through, quite literally slides on through. No snow plows in the area. And what we have seen, especially here in Lewistown as we've gone through this morning and into this afternoon, is a plow like this truck right here will come through, plow out a spot on the roadway, and then the snow will just fill it right back up a couple minutes later. That's how hard these crews are working. We'll switch over to Tony now. Of course, we talk about the snow still falling now. Things will wrap up as we get to this evening, but then the winds are going to pick up, and that could allow some of the light, fluffy snow that we have seen fall over these last couple of days when the wind just grabs it and blows it right back onto the roadways.
Jacob, that is part 2 of our storm system here. The middle part is the blowing and drifting snow that's going to come in during the day tomorrow. This has been a very cold storm. For sure, the kids want to get out, do some sled riding, play in the snow. It's not snowman making snow. It's not snowball making snow. This is a great snow for sled riding and also skiing. But if the kids want to head out, just make sure they've got a couple of layers on. It is bone-chilling cold. It's only around 10 to 15 degrees right now. And with the breeze that is out there, it's around 0 in most spots. Winter storm warnings continue through 1 o'clock tomorrow. Most of the steadier falling precip, snow and sleet, will wind down around midnight tonight. And then the blowing snow takes over throughout the night and heading into tomorrow morning. Snowfall expectations unchanged, 81 and 78 from there. Northwestern seeing the highest snowfall totals. And then south and east of there, especially southern New York, southeastern Lancaster counties, anywhere between 6 to as much as 8 or 9 inches of snow because of that sleet mixing in. Weather impact alert through Tuesday. Again, the snow today, the wind, the blowing snow tomorrow, and then into Tuesday morning. Frostbite concern is there. Wind chills will be between 10 and 15 below 0. 11 in Harrisburg, 14 York, 10 right now in Lewistown, and 11 in Chambersburg. Temperatures really have not moved much since back at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock this morning. It's been in the lower teens and upper single digits. Our wind chill's also sitting in the lower single digits right now. Satellite radar, the loop over the last couple of hours, everything moving from southwest to northeast. Further off to the south, still plenty of precip all the way down through West Virginia and Kentucky. And this all has to move through coming up over the next several hours. Stay with us here on Fox 43 Plus as we continue to track the storm. Updates, radar around the clock right through the afternoon and into tonight. We'll be with you step by step as this storm moves through.
The roads right now, they are not great to drive on. It's pretty treacherous, and state officials are encouraging people, of course, to stay home.
And we are checking in with PennDOT spokesperson Fritzi Schreffler. She is on the phone right now with an update on what crews are tackling, what they're seeing, and where that focus is really on and what they're paying attention to. So, Fritzi, thank you for joining us. And, what has been the focus in the early hours of what PennDOT's trying to do out there?
Just trying to keep up with the snow. Our crews have been out since midnight. We had a shift change at noon so that the initial crews could get some much-needed rest. And we'll be out there for the duration. And like you said, it's one of those things where we go through with the plow, and with the rate of snowfall, it's just covering it right back up.
Let's talk about the plan of attack that you have here. What is the number one thing that your crews are trying to get done, and what becomes kind of the B, C, D, the list after that?
Well, the biggest thing is trying to keep at least one lane in each direction passable. We don't have a bare roads policy in Pennsylvania, so it's a passable road, and I've been looking at the cameras over the last hour, and yeah, there's nowhere that we have it down to just blacktop or concrete anywhere. So after that, it's going to be, if we can keep up with trying to keep lanes passable, then can we add another lane in? Tomorrow probably will be more of the cleanup of trying to push back shoulders and things like that.
Is there a shift in approach now that we're seeing more sleet coming through the area as opposed to the heavy snowflakes?
No, because it wasn't a heavy, wet snow that came in before. It was a matter of just pushing the snow off as much as we can. This will probably change the material that we put down a little bit. We use something called anti-skid, and it's got kind of a gravel mixed in with the salt because salt doesn't work as quickly below 25, 22 degrees. So you need to add something in so that any traffic that is there has something for traction, but it gives the salt a little bit more time to work.
Now, some of these on-off ramps on some of the state highways, that is what people are saying right now seems to be the worst. Like once you can get onto an 83, 81, once you can get onto it, you're pretty much okay. But it's those on-off ramps that become really tricky. A lot of them in Pennsylvania, they tend to be short and they tend to be hilly, pretty steep to go down some of them. So what is the attack on those, and when do you guys get to those?
Well, we try and get to them as we're going along the routes. But, for example, I've been watching 81 for the last, 20, 30 minutes. And the focus with the plow trains is keeping the main line open, trying to keep that passable. We're really hoping that a lot of people aren't out. And I really have not seen very many vehicles out there at all. I am surprised I've seen a few commercial vehicles out on 81. And those are banned from being there, but I'm sure that they know that the state police are probably not sitting there waiting for them. But yeah, it's really, we get to the ramps as we can.
And you mentioned that they recently had that shift at noon, a shift change. We're always talking about the employment fairs that PennDOT's doing. How comfortable is PennDOT with the numbers that they have right now as far as out on the roads?
Well, we have 310 trucks, and those are actually out on the road right now. And we have 37 rentals in various areas. So I think we're doing okay right now. I think if this would be a longer duration, like another day or two of just snow, like blizzard-like conditions, that might be an issue. But I think we're pretty good right now.
And Fritzi, it's been a while since we have had a storm of this impact that is really impacting the entire state. I mean, you're talking the entire state is seeing multiple inches of snow. A lot of us over a foot of snow. So kind of explain what that attack has been like in our area and if you're communicating with some of the other parts of Pennsylvania as well.
Oh, yeah. We're in constant communications with our counterparts all over the state and with the surrounding states to see what they're dealing with and to communicate if we have closures, any issues. It's been 10 years since we've had that, and we have a lot of new operators in those 10 years who've been itching for a snowstorm. And I think the general public has been itching for a good snowstorm, so they're definitely getting that now. But now that it's turning over to sleet, the good thing is we've had, knock on wood, minor crashes and no road closures.
And of course, obviously today being Sunday, that's going to affect how much travel is out there. With tomorrow being the start of a new work week, what is your advice to people for what we could be seeing?
Well, we know that there are people who have to be out there. There are essential employees. That includes you guys. You have to be at work. And their emergency responders have to be out there. There are companies that simply cannot function by saying you work from home. It just doesn't work that way. Let those people be the ones to get out. We've had plenty of notice for this snowstorm that it was coming. You should have all the supplies you need for another day, and just stay home. It's not the time to go out and see how much snow other places got, or maybe run to the store. I keep saying to people, do a Chopped episode at home. Open the pantry and see what's left there and make something interesting.
Yeah, check those expiration codes. I've been caught on that one before.
Oh, yeah, that too.
All right, well, Fritzy, really, really important information. I know we're going to continuously check in with you because this is what people need to know, especially as they are heading out on the road. And as you were mentioning, for people to stay home, we're starting to get now a lot of those closures come in for tomorrow. Some of the companies, some of the schools, they feel comfortable announcing things starting now. So that's when we'll start to get a better idea of how many people will be on the road tomorrow. And I'm sure your plan of attack will change then too. But Fritzy, we're not letting you go too far because we're going to be checking in with you pretty much all day long, and I know we already booked you for tomorrow morning too. So
yeah,
we'll
through almost midnight with you guys.
Yes, that is true. All right, real Fritzy, thanks so much. We'll check with you again, like you said, in a little bit. And of course, we were just talking about those people trying to get in and out of the roads. And she mentioned, Fox 43, we are some of the employees that do need to be out on the roads. And we are doing it to make sure that you know what you could run into. We are telling you to stay home. But if an emergency happens, you need to go out, or you're an essential worker yourself, you need to know what is happening all over the area.
Yeah, and that includes in Cumberland County. We've already had some stops in York County, Dauphin County. Robert Stover's been in Cumberland County all day today. He is still in Carlisle. And Robert, how has it kind of progressed? You've seen more than a few maintenance vehicles out there today.
Absolutely, and within the past hour, we have seen a couple more vehicles come to this rest stop. We're kind of sandwiched in between Interstate 81 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and I have to say, listening to the conversation with Fritzy, we have been noticing some of those PennDOT vehicles as they're coming off one major roadway. They do come by through the Harrisburg Pike and try to push as much snow as they can off to the side of the road there before, entering another major roadway. But unfortunately, just the conditions what they are, as you heard Jacob mention a few minutes ago, whatever material is pushed to the side of the road, it just adds back on. And with the wind expected overnight, really all those efforts are just going to have to be doubled as we kind of progress and take a look at the situation on our hands right now. But that all being said, fairly quiet off Harrisburg Pike. In fact, look at that. We do have, I believe, a PennDOT truck coming down the roadway right now. Just our luck. So we can see that, and you can see just all that material, all that fine powdery snow being pushed off. But now with the sleet, it's kind of making a more thick mixture, at least just like by what I'm standing on right now. Kind of have to groove my heels into the surface a little bit more to, to find the asphalt itself. Now, that all being said, with the conditions what they are, this is kind of what inspired the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners to announce a declaration of disaster emergency. Now, what that means for most people is that, government facilities like the courthouse and some other county facilities, they're going to be closed down tomorrow and only be available for those essential workers, like you've heard so far this morning. What that also means is that county officials can purchase needed supplies, employ temporary workers, and enter in contracts and agreements with vendors in a more timely fashion, not go through sort of the ins and outs they typically would do if the circumstances weren't as extreme as they are. That all being said, we've been saying it over and over again this morning. You know, if you don't have to leave your home, don't do that. The roads have mildly improved. Again, we are seeing a little bit more action when it comes to those PennDOT trucks. We have landscapers with the snowplows retrofitted to the front of their trucks. They've been coming through the area as well. So if you do find yourself on the road and you do come across a vehicle like that, make sure you give them enough space to do their work. And listen, if worse comes to worse and you don't feel safe on the road, so you have to pull over to a rest stop like this one, it could be open, it might not be. Just make sure you bring with you an emergency kit that has food, water, maybe some hand warmers if you have them, warm blankets. Again, if you just need to wait out the storm a little bit more and kind of wait for conditions to improve, which we will continue to monitor and provide the most up-to-date information on air and online at fox43.com. Live in Carlisle, Cumberland County, Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
All right, Robert, a lot of those truck stops, little restroom spots, they're going to have a pretty big backup there just because of the amount of restrictions out on the roads. So thank you very much, and we will check back with you coming up a little bit later.
Well, the snow, the sleet, it's all still falling all over south central Pennsylvania, which means getting on the roads impossible for a lot of people. Luckily, a lot of you will stay home, but if you want to know what the conditions are, well, we have crews that have been outside for about 7 hours straight now.
Yeah, Fox 43 Sedona Meadows, she is loving life in York Township, York County right now, monitoring. I don't know what she's doing in that video right now, but she is watching the roads in addition to whatever she's doing right there. Sedona, how is it looking? And we also know you could see I-83 from where you're standing. So.
Yeah, I think I've hit the point. We've been out here since I guess 8 a.m. So we've seen a lot this morning, been through a lot, and we're definitely feeling more of that sleet right now. So not so much that snow, that light fluffy feel, but more of that kind of hard, icy, hitting you in the face kind of feel. But we have been monitoring how much has been really accumulating, and because there is more of that sleet, that wintry mix, we haven't seen as much collection over the last couple hours as we did when we first were out here. But we are seeing around about 7 inches collecting over here still. But different parts of this parking lot have definitely seen a little bit more, snow, and have collected more over the last couple hours. But yeah, we've seen a lot of plows kind of coming through, clearing the pathway, building these huge piles. And again, we are across the way from I-83 north and southbound, and we have been seeing, some vehicles out and about. We've seen a lot of the emergency vehicles, the people that need to be out here. So those fire trucks, those police cars, EMS. So we've seen some plows, lots of plows coming through. And I know Fritzy has mentioned that, it takes them a couple hours to get back to the same spot again. But we did see a plow kind of come through that exit ramp not too long ago. So I know that that's kind of been an issue with those those on ramps, being able to even see where you're trying to get onto the interstate. So that's definitely an issue that we have seen throughout the morning and into the afternoon. And it is kind of feeling a little less, in your face right now in terms of the sleet. It's still feeling a little icy, but a little less than we were feeling a couple hours ago. It definitely was hitting us in the face earlier, but now it feels like it calmed down just a little bit. I'm sure before it goes back to hitting us in the face again. But we, like we said, we've been seeing a lot, thankfully, cars, a lot of those vehicles that don't need to be out there right now haven't been. So that's really good. And we've seen a lot of vehicles go slow, some vehicles a little too fast. So definitely want to make sure if you are out here, if you have to be, to keep it slow and do not follow people closely. And of course, because it's a snow day, it's not packable snow, but this lovely, snow plow left us a really great gift. And we did build Ice Baby. He is back. I don't know if you remember him from the first snowfall, but he's back and he's angry because I left him in a Sheetz parking lot. But he's back and he's bigger, and we did do a food coloring experiment earlier, but Dave, unfortunately, my photographer, stepped in it. So again, we do not know exactly what's happening with this snow, but we know that it's kind of hitting it and moving it around, so it's definitely covering it a bit. But we will never fully know what happened with the food coloring because, again, my experiment is gone. And we did leave a water bottle in this pile somewhere, and we will never know if it's frozen until it's all melted away. So there goes our experiments. So Jackie, Alex, we are having a great time out here, but seriously, if you don't have to be outside, don't be. Ice Baby is warning you to stay inside and stay warm.
Sedona, just one question here, because you have so much energy, and you have been in that same location since 7 o'clock this morning. For those who don't know, Sedona is originally from Arizona. Mm-hmm. Is this the most snow you've ever seen?
Ever in my life. There are photos of me. So I originally was born in Ohio, but there are photos of me when I was like 3 out in the snow crying. And that's kind of how I feel today. So yeah, this is probably the most I've ever seen, especially looking at this pile of everything they shoved to the corner. I'm like, I've never seen this much snow that has fallen. So yeah, it's been an experience. This desert gal is, she's been going through it today. We're feeling all the feels.
I'm from Sedona, Arizona to snowstorm Sedona.
Yep.
So we've changed her. We've changed her. All right, Sedona, thank you so much. Go stay warm. And Fox 43 News, we'll be right back.
Thanks for staying with us on Fox 43 News. I'm Alex Colley.
And I'm Jackie DeTore. We want to get a check of that forecast right away and what we are still looking like outside with Jacob Hitz. Hours into that storm, some areas have now been getting sleet now for several hours. Some areas still just getting the really white, fluffy snow.
Real estate. Location, location, location. That's it. The further south you are, the better chance that you're going to see some of that sleet. The further north you are, especially to the north and west, it's all snow. You haven't seen any sleet so far in Mifflin, Juniata County. So live look at satellite and radar. And again, this has kept a lot of the pink, which is that mix and sleet, has kept it off of the radar for much of the day. But we know that we have seen some sleet across the area from Lancaster to York, over to Gettysburg into Franklin County, even as far north as, say, Duncannon up in Perry County. No, Harrisburg got a little bit of sleet. Some places, though, have switched back over to snow, and we just sort of keep going back and forth as we go through the rest of our afternoon and into this evening. Now, let's talk about snowfall totals, at least so far. 11.5 inches over Manheim Township. 10 inches, that's, I believe, been up now to 11 inches over in Lebanon. 9 inches over in Chambersburg and Franklin County, 8 inches in Marysville and in Silver Spring Township. That's Perry County and Cumberland County for both of them. Again, types of winter precip that we can see. The main concerns, snow and sleet. Snow, obviously, that's all cold air all the time, and your sleet, you get a little bit of warm air higher up in the atmosphere. So it first falls as snow, then it melts once it runs into that warm air, freezes again with the cold air underneath as it comes back down to earth. There have been a couple of instances, though, at least today, where the snowfall rate has been so high where even with that warm layer up there, the snow is able to overwhelm it, cool that air down just a little bit, and prevent it from freezing so it still falls as snow. Winter storm warning still in effect for our entire area. This is until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And once the snow is done falling, as we get to later on this afternoon into this evening and overnight tonight, then we have to watch out for the winds. Winds by tomorrow afternoon up to around 30 miles an hour. And that's when we turn to Tony Martin because, of course, even as snow plows and workers are trying to clear the roadways tonight to maybe get some things passable for tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, that wind is going to blow the snow right back onto the roadway.
Yeah, Jacob, that's part 2 of our storm. It's really a 3-parter. The first part now, snow and sleet tomorrow, gusty winds, blowing and drifting snow, and the backside of things, the third part is bitterly cold wind chills. That will arrive late tomorrow night and moving into Tuesday. Winter storm warnings go through 1 o'clock tomorrow. Snowfall amounts, again, for the most part, unchanged from what we were thinking over the last couple of days. 6 to 12, southeastern third to half of the area. North and west of there is where the highest totals will be when things are all said and done, and roughly very close to 88 or 81 and 78. That looks to be the boundary between more snow and then south and east of there, a little bit more in the way of some sleet. Weather impact alert through Tuesday. So the weather conditions, not real good over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, blowing and drifting snow. Tuesday morning, wind chills as low as 10 to 15 below. It's going to be pretty common across much of south central Pennsylvania. Expect more travel delays tomorrow because of blowing and drifting snow behind the storm. Road crews getting out and starting to clean up. They may be battling those snow drifts and blowing snow throughout much of the day. Frostbite risk goes up quite a bit tomorrow night and into early Tuesday. Readings now lower to mid-teens. We have barely budged over the last 5 or 6 hours. Temperatures have really gone nowhere. Wind chills, they're a little better, but still single digits above and below zero. If the kids want to go out, play in the snow, do some sled riding, make sure they've got a couple of layers on. But you'll notice as they come back in, a lot of times, we get the snowfall events where they're soaking wet after they go out and play in the snow. This snow is very sandy and dry and fluffy. Not a lot of big water content to it. There's some, but the further south and east you go where that sleet is mixing in, that's a different story. The rest of the region with that fluffy, powdery snow up in the Mifflin and Juniata counties, great snow certainly for skiing. To our south and west, the mix line continues to try and move off to the north and northeast, but it's running into a bit of a brick wall. It's in the form of cold Arctic air. So that's going to keep things from going over to sleet across a large part of the area. At times, we'll kind of go back and forth. And then eventually everything will start to wind down as we approach midnight tonight. York for the rest of today, middle to upper teens. In fact, we'll hit our highs for the entire day after sunset tonight as we approach 8 to midnight in there. will climb all the way up to a balmy 18 degrees. But again, we're going to get much colder heading into Monday night and Tuesday. That part of your forecast in just a few moments.
We want to head back out now to our live team coverage so we can get coverage all over the area.
Yeah, Fox 43's Natalie Caranda, she's wearing multiple hats. And no, I'm not just talking about the two beanies on her head. She is giving us reports and also helping PennDOT plow the roads. How's it going out there, Natalie?
It's going well. About a little bit ago, whenever we got off of the ride-along experience, which was very fun, you can't say that I helped because I did not help at all. I just got to be part of it and have all of the fun with them, and it was such a great experience. But even just a little bit ago, we were getting off of the truck, and the last time I saw you guys, the snow was very, very, very fluffy and powdery. But now it's back to that sleet mix, which is what we were dealing with during that ride-along pretty much the entire time. So much that he had to, Corey Martin, the foreman of Interstate 83 that I was with, riding along with, had to stop in New Cumberland, in the New Cumberland exit, to clean off of his windshield wipers from the ice and everything. So whenever we were coming back down this way, it did start to change slightly, but then it was sleeting yet again, as you can probably see in the video right now. But the one thing that he did tell me, because I asked him, what advice would you give people if they absolutely have to be out on the road? And he gave me a couple of words that he wanted people to hear.
Just be careful. Again, if you have to be out here, I can't emphasize it enough. Please be patient with our operators, be patient with our trucks, and don't be in a hurry. When you're in a hurry, things happen. We want everybody to be safe.
Yeah, like he said at the end there, he said, don't be in a hurry. If you have to be out today, don't be in a hurry, because it keeps everybody safe. It's less hazards, less movement on the roads. And because there has been little movement on the roads today, it has made their jobs a lot easier, which they appreciate greatly. They also say if you are stuck behind one of their plows or one of their vehicles, you're probably good because you're getting all of that, fresh plow, and you're just following them closely. But make sure you give them enough space so they can also do their job to keep everybody on the roads like yourself safe if you have to be out today. But I'm still out here, and you can probably see that there are still a lot of activity going on behind me. They're getting in for another shift. They are filling up again with more salt brine, all of that, so they can continue treating the roads this entire, as we go into the afternoon, and as the snow starts turning into sleet and back and forth again. And they're just here to help make sure that we all are safe and that they're continuing to do their jobs.
All right, Natalie, thanks so much giving us the information from, the Mecca right now of a very busy area for PennDOT and all those crews that are heading out. We know that they just switched over about a little over 2 hours ago, so still very, very busy there and a lot of work ahead. So, Natalie, we'll check back with you in just a little bit. And we want to go a little bit further north because we know that's where a lot of the snow is still falling. Natalie was talking about how it went from those really big fluffy snowflakes to more of the sleet, a little more quiet there. That's probably not the case when we talk to our next reporter.
Yeah, Fox 43's Tyler Poglich was able to kind of paint a picture of what he saw on his trek from York up to Hershey, and he joins us now to give us a little more insight into how the roads are out there in Derry Township. Tyler.
Yeah, Jackie and Alex, as you can see here behind me, we're just outside of Hershey Park, where it's pretty quiet today, and for some really good reasons, as you can see, there's a lot of snow making its way here in the area. And I'm just gonna start walking and show you guys. We are just off of Chocolate Ave here in downtown Hershey, and as you can see, snow is just coming down all over here. The roads we saw, there was just a few plow trucks making its way on Chocolate Ave, where they're trying to clear roads, but the roads are still very dangerous to drive on. During our last hit, when I called in with you guys, I was mentioning to you that off of the exit on Hershey Drive, there were several cars pulled off onto the side of the road from the exit on the on-ramp, where police officers had to help those vehicles make their way out of the snow and back onto the roads. So up here where there's more snow coming down and heavier snow, it's getting really dangerous right now for roads. And we were able to speak with one of the drivers in the parking lot of the Sheets that we pulled off into, and he even mentioned the roads are extremely dangerous right now. He's trying to get home to his farm where he has a snow vehicle where he's going to have some fun on his farm, but he mentioned even in a big pickup truck that he has right now, the roads are just extremely dangerous to be on for just about any driver right now.
All right, Tyler, thank you for those updates as well. We know, again, that they're getting a little bit more of that snow up there. You can see a little bit more, but this is kind of just that changeover period. This is the time that our meteorologists were talking about that people need to be aware of as things are changing over a little bit, and roads, well, they are just still a mess. So we're going to continue to get updates from all of our reporters in the fields and our meteorologists that are giving you really the minute-by-minute updates that you need to know to keep you and your family safe. So, Tyler, thanks so much.